good.
Just gonna walk you through my very confusing presentation. So if you're watching in the recording, these presentations are not meant for you. Those are my presentations, but I'm gonna share them anyway. So I think it's just nicer having something to look at. But I'll update these whilst things do change. Let me just quickly get into presentation mode over here, wherever the fuck it is. There we go. Okay, then let's just kick it off with the big ice dragon. Um, Again, these notes are going to be a bit all over the show, so just bear with me. Let's just cover Sapphiron mechanics. So Sapphiron has two phases that are gonna, he's gonna change in between. So it's not just phase one and phase two. He will be in phase one, then two, go back to one, go back to two, depending on our kill speed, right? So as every dragon in this game, or mostly every dragon, he has cleave and tail swipe, but kind of on steroids. So this is Sapphiron, hard-hitting boss, is known to kill tanks if you don't pay attention. So the cleave is something that we have to avoid at all cost for melees. Um, so where Nixia has breath, he will just straight up cleave, but it's giga dangerous. So nobody should ever be in front of Sapphiron. Tail swipe. I'm not really sure if Sapphiron tail swipe is a knockback, but doesn't matter. You shouldn't be hit. It will probably stun you and throw you over. The knockdown. Um, to avoid this, we're going to be positioned just like on Onyxia. It's pretty much the same setup as we have it on Onyxia, right? So we're going to have a double split, one group left, one group right, and I'll tell you why that is in a second, but obviously for Cleave and Tail Swipe. And there's many ways to play Sapphiron. This is probably the most established way. There's also, if you look at Deathwish, the guild that we looked at, killing Resuvius, they play it on one side, which is another option to play it, which is not my personal favorite. So the reason you split up the rate is to avoid the blizzards. But just back to mechanics quickly. So there is life drain, which is a curse. So decurse on this boss is absolutely crucial. It has to happen as quickly as possible, just like Noth. But we are really good on decurses, so I don't really see that being an issue.
Rasma
Um,
also said we can get the towel from the
yeah, I was
thingy
about to cover
just
that.
as mod.
The
Sorry.
problem with towels is it's not easy to get. So just getting the towel is not a thing because you need to do a pre-quest that requires a lot of engineering stuff,
It's not a
bombs,
lot.
unstable trig. I'm just saying the state of the server is fucked, and we need to take it into consideration. This is not cheap and accessible for everyone. If we have a guild effort to make these things of existing materials, that's fine because the towels do really help a lot. But I'm not going to force it upon everyone to have it because decursing works just as well, and it's not the you know breaking point if we have, like, it's not going to be the make or break if we have these towels or not. But yes, there is an EPL quest. I'm going to ask people to do it, but I don't think everyone will have the means to do it unless we, I don't know, pop things left and right and send them everywhere. So it's costly at this server stage to do the quest. Anyways, there's a quest in EPL. I'm going to share that with you. You can do it if you can. It's going to help the fight. Otherwise, normal decurs will just do fine and will be okay. The biggest first mechanic is Frost Aura. So Frost Aura, as you can see, bottom left, deals 600 damage every 2 seconds. That's why we wear Frost Resistance, right? So if you think of 600 damage every 2 seconds for 40 people, you cannot sustain that kind of damage if you don't wear any Frost Resistance. Doesn't mean we have to be resistance capped at 315, but if we can bring, let's say, 120 roughly on average, healers will have a bit less. Some people might have a bit more, but not much more. Like, don't go 200 plus. That's not going to help because we're going to lose DPS that we need as well. But having that frost resistance gear will help us mitigating the first frost mechanic on Sapphiron. So I don't know exactly what the 600 damage is going to be mitigated. That depends on, and Harold, you can correct me here. I don't 100% understand how resistance work. I think there is levels of how much you partially can resist.
Hmm.
To full resist, I don't think we're going to get anyways because we're missing the cap. So I
Um,
think there is a level of chances of partial resists we can get, but I could be wrong.
it's just chances to resist, partially resist. It's like 0%, 25, 50, 75, and full resist. With
Okay.
a resist of 210, you fully eliminate 0 chance of, full damage. So you'll have only 25, 50, 75, and full resists. I've shared the link with calculator. You can check the exact numbers in the KT push channel.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So the whole reason we wear frost resistance on Sapphiron is this. So Sapphiron has a lot of HP. He's a big boss. He's like 3 point something million. So he's not a quick push over. This fight is gonna take, you know, a little bit. So we have to sustain through that aura. We can't just blast through him and then be done with it. Yeah. Next mechanic is the last mechanic for ground phase is going to be Blizzard. So these blizzards, yeah, go for it.
Sorry, one question. The frost aura, how big is the AoE? Is it only if
it's the full room?
Okay.
You cannot outrange it. It's
Okay.
everyone that's in the room is going to be hit. For Blizzard, these are just like Azorigos blizzards. So you should walk out as quickly as possible, but it's Azorigos blizzard on steroids. So these deal 2000 damage per tick, which is unmitigated. So mitigated, it's going to be less, but still there's something that you should not, you know, risk taking. So now talking about a split or playing one side. So if you play one side, you run the risk that a blizzard is going to hit a lot of people, right? Because melees will be stacked, healers will be somewhat stacked, even though they can spread out more than the melees. So I don't like that playing one side because there's a higher risk of blizzard hitting a lot of people. What it makes easier playing one side is the positioning of a couple of mechanics that are, you know, coming in a minute or two, which I think is not outweighing the risk with Blizzard. So again, these are both established ways we're going to play a split. We're going to have GFPP pre-potted. We're going to have our frost resistance. We can repot frost protection potion throughout the fight. So there is things to mitigate all this damage. So this is ground phase. For the air phase, there's the more important mechanic. So mechanic 1 is Ice Bolt, that is also connected to Frost Breath. So Ice Bolt is going to target 5 random people in the raid, and it's going to turn them into ice tombs. So they'll be stunned in position, they cannot move, they can't do anything, they'll just stay there. But they also act as a shield for other people to hide from the second mechanic. So when he launches into air phase, he's going to stop attacking. He's not going to hit the main tank, he's just going to fly and spit out these, you know, ice bolts. Which again are protective, you know, areas for us. So we need to look out for the people in ice bolts in order to hide from the next mechanic. I explain how that works, you know, in just a second. But what's important to understand is that it deals quite a bit of damage. So for healers, everybody in the raid has kind of to be almost topped off at most times because the ice bolt, you know, on top of all the other damage happening, can kill people if they're low HP. So people need to be at a certain threshold to not be one shot by ice bolt. It is just, you know, quote unquote, just 2.6k damage. Excuse me. Just 2.6k damage, but you know, on top of everything else, people might die. Has also impact damage. So you cannot just like clump up and wait for these ice bolts to hit because people who are in close proximity, let's say 10 yards, will also be hit by it. So if you want to mitigate damage and play it right, you all spread out, wait for the ice tombs to hit, the ice bolts, sorry, and then you start hiding after the last one. So, you know, as the better you play this, the less people get hit. I'll show you in a video what that looks like. There's also a weak aura I've posted here. This is one of the weak auras I'm going to share with you in preparation for the push. That weak aura is going to tell you how many people have already been ice bolted, so that you don't have to look, you know, around the room. Shit, are we on 2 or 3? The weak aura is going to tell you 3 people are frozen, 4 people, 5 people, and on the last one, it's going to tell you to hide. So this is when you, from the spread out phase, walk behind your ice bolted, you know, friend to hide from the next mechanic. And the next mechanic is Frost Breath. So after he's cast the 5 ice bolts, he's gonna drop Frost Breath. Sounds a bit misleading because Frost Breath is not really what's going to happen. He's going to drop a frost bomb, like a big ball of frost into the middle of the room, which is going to deal 75k damage to everyone that is not behind a ice bolt, which means you're going to die no matter what. You cannot mitigate it. You're just going to die. As pointed out here, it is avoidable. Oh, sorry, it is avoidable by Petri, so that is something we can use to our advantage. this is just, base mechanics for now. I'm gonna share my screen for a frontier kill now, which is exactly the same tactic that we are gonna play. And then I'm gonna walk you through what's happening here and how it's gonna look for us as well. I'm just gonna change my window here. And then we'll watch some frontier. Okay, so let me just wrap up a few things before we start watching the video. So everybody is going to have frost resistance gear. I've put into the raid information channel and the announcement channel, I think, how much each class is roughly going to wear. Speak to your class leaders if you're unsure. Some people might be a bit lower than recommended. Some people might be a little bit higher, but it shouldn't, have too much of a range. You shouldn't go 100 more than recommended because we're just going to lose DPS. So just keep that in mind. Again, we'll have frost protection pre-potted. We're all gonna have Juju chills that Hansuk sponsored because he still had them. So it's 15 additional resistance we can just get by a Juju. Healers in this fight will use chromatic flasks until they run and then switch to wisdom. And we can also and will also, all 40 of us, pre-pot magic resistance potions. So people who know magic resistance potions will know that they're not gonna stack with everything else. The magic resistance potion is just a pre-pot in case a shaman totem isn't in your range, because shaman totems will be up. But if it's not in your range, you'll still have the magic resistance pot up. It doesn't hurt. We have the consumables, so let's take them. Yeah, so that's pretty much it in terms of resistances. There's lots of stuff to mitigate that we do have available and will be handed out for that raid night. Other pointers. Argent Dawn Trinkets work on Sapphiron. He's undead, so every DPS player should equip the Argent Dawn Trinket unless they chose to pick the Ice Reflector, which I don't think is necessary for most classes. Ice Reflector is probably a waste in terms of losing too much DPS for what you're gaining. There's better slots to pick, I would say. But it's not unseen, it's not unheard of. I've looked at a couple of logs from many different guilds. Some do wear these items, and that's okay. One thing for tanks that I'm going to note here is, or like everyone really, on pull, you shouldn't really do anything. So on pull, there shouldn't be any blood rages, there shouldn't be any diamond flasks running, especially not with heal gear on. Nothing that can put you on the threat table should be kind of used. So that's just in order to have a clean pull. Just like Velestras, if Sapphiron is about to, or if he's turning for us and he's going to cleave us, then people will most likely just die. There's nothing really we can do about it. So on pull, it's important. It's just a tank. Nobody touches the dragon. Nobody does anything that puts you on the threat table until threat is good. We have those couple extra seconds, so let's use it. As said before, the melees are going to be very close on both sides to the dragon, just like on Nixia. You'll be by the belly. You don't, you're not by the head. You're not by the tail. You're just by the belly, probably by the back paw, if that makes sense. There's a big, massive hitbox on Sapphiron, so melees don't have to stand inside of him. You can have a lot of distance, and you see that in the video in just a second. So let's see, what else am I missing? Nothing really for this at the moment, so let's just watch the kill here. So as you can see, they're also splitting the raid. We're going to make sure that each side, this is one side, and what is behind the raid frame now is another side, will have decurses, so there will be mages and druids on both sides to decurse. But the setup is really just like on Ixia. You can see there's this little build-up phase here where nothing really happens until we're all positioned. One thing that's going to be very important is the positioning for air phase. So just going to go back to one of the key mechanics, which is the ice tombs. So imagine we would not move from these positions if ice tombs are going to happen. What can happen, and I've seen happen in many raids in Era, and if you have raided Era, you might have seen the same. If these groups of people are just going to stay here, there is a chance that they're not going to get an ice tomb. So who's getting ice tombed is random, it's RNG. So Sapphiron might as well ice tomb 5 people here, but all these people back here will not get one, which means they cannot go hide, which means they will die. For hardcore, this isn't really too problematic because we can always petri the mechanic. So if you choose to, petri it, or if you can't find an ice block nearby to hide, you can always petri and you will be safe. I'm just saying we're still going to have a safety net which is playing it the right way. So just pay attention to the melee hitboxes here, how far away they can be from the dragon to, hit them. There's no reason for you to be any closer. If this fight is well executed as this one is, it will look fairly easy. But yeah, just direct your, just look at the raid frames. You'll see people drop significantly quickly because blizzards and the aura are just eating away at you. So this is the first kind of blizzard hitting the melees. So now this is something I want to point out, because if these melees on any side, doesn't matter where, get hit, they'll need to move out of the blizzard to mitigate the damage, but they also need to make sure to not panic and run into the tail or into the front. So your best way is not to backpedal, but just like turn around and step out, just like side strafe out, or, turn around and walk out, position clever like he does here. As you can see, the blizzard ends right here, so there's no way to go any further away. So this is now the first, let's say 30%, and he's heading into air phase. So in air phase, these people are going to now start positioning, and we're going to do the same thing. So this whole area, yeah, so this is the entrance to Kel'Thuzad, this whole area with the steps, this is where we're going to position. So people can just spread out here just the same way they are. There's no set positions. I'm not going to call you stand there. This is way too complicated. So just like on Thaddeus, when we walk out or stay inside, people are just going to arrange themselves so they have a distance of, let's say, 10 yards between them. And this will guarantee that people have, firstly, the impact damage is mitigated. So you can see one ice bolt shooting here. This guy has already been ice bolted, so this is what it looks like. This is the safe spot for these people back here. So this is where they are going to hide. But they're still staying spread in case other people get hit. Remember, there's a impact damage when these ice bolts land, so you can mitigate more damage if you just position correctly. So this guy's getting hit now. If you would stand next to him, you would get hit as well. So we spread out, we just stay here.
And the splash damage goes even through Petri. We saw that one of the death clips.
Yes. So you can see now, this is, by the way, this is the weak aura counting for you. This is the same one that I have, so it's going to count to 5. It's going to go back a couple of frames. It says look around here. This is while it's still counting. So it's 1, 2 here, 3 here. It's going to count up to 4. And now 5. And now it's time to hide. So you have 6.5 seconds here to hide from the big bomb. So people just stand behind here. One thing that's really important to point out is, and sorry for pausing this much, we're gonna watch the whole thing maybe again after. One thing that's very important here is to hit escape and just double escape and don't do anything. You don't want to hit the boss. Like these guys are still in range to hit. This is the main tank here, but these guys are still in range to hit the boss. You should not do that. Whenever you hide, you just double escape. You do nothing. You don't target the boss. You just sit here. So this is the big ice ball dropping. This is what's gonna wipe people with 75k damage when it drops. So we just wait for the explosion to go out, and now it's safe to move. There isn't much time to move until he lands, so people need to position quickly. And we're just going to go back into the same position from phase 1. And now it is really just rinse and repeat. Nothing is going to change here. There's no enrage. There's no next hidden mechanic. This is the whole boss fight. So you just rinse and repeat the same thing. You hide from Blizzard. When he goes into the air, you walk towards the front. You position 10 yards away from people whilst you're decursing. And then you hide behind the frozen tombs or the ice bolts.
Good evening.
Hey.
No, yo.
For the items, as Vikara said, start looking for ice tomb like after the third one, third frostbolt. So you should understand where you go. If no, if there are no any tombs around, start moving a bit earlier than the fifth tomb.
Yeah. So again, you can always petri this. You're still you're still fine if you're panicking or you can't find an ice tomb because you're in just a spot where there is none. Again, the likelihood of this happening is very low, but the RNG could even put 5 ice tombs this side of the room, right? And these people will not make it in time. It's almost impossible to run from here to here in 6 seconds. So if the first 3 are here, you would still gamble that probably 1 or 2 are going to spawn here. But then again, RNG can be bad. It is completely random. I've seen it happen. I've seen my old guild wipe to it. So you just have to make sure that you understand that this is RNG and not guaranteed to spawn nearby. So we have petries. We'll hand out petries, so you can just skip the mechanics by petrying early. There's no bug in which you could die. As Nova has pointed out, the impact damage can still go to through the petri, but there's only the person targeted by the ice bolt, not, anyone random. If you stand inside someone that is getting targeted, which you shouldn't, then yes, if you petri, you might as well get hit. But in theory, unless RNG is super bad, you should have a safe spot somewhere. And as I said, this is just rinse and repeat. Ground phase, air phase, ground phase, air phase, depending on damage.
It's always 5 tombs before he drops the bomb, right?
Yes.
Short question regarding kind of the velocity. Are you taking, when you are behind the ice block, are you looking at the center of the map to kind of lost the center of the map, or where Sapphiron was the last time? Like,
To the ball, I guess. Yeah.
It doesn't really matter where you look. You could also turn around and look to KT.
No, not looking, but
Line of sighting, yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. So, for instance, if you're Tauren, like your model is a little bit bigger, so how do you make sure that you are definitely behind the ice block is my question.
Just be center of the ice block is the best advice I can give. So just, if the ice block is whatever wide, if you take the middle of that roughly, it's not very, it's not giga sensitive.
Line of sighting the ball, yes,
I
not
believe,
the dragon.
Yes, it's a
I don't know why that, yeah.
It's
Go ahead,
dropping
Al.
behind the dragon, but it's exactly in the center of the room. It just started flying in the center. Like Anix said, she moving to the center if she's not in, but Sapphiron is stuck at the middle, so she's just flying at the middle. And he will move if he is not in the middle. So just watch where is Sapphiron, and the ball will spawn behind him.
Yeah. Oh, now I get it. Sorry, I think I misunderstood the question. So yes, the ball, as far as I know, is always going to drop in the middle. So it's not going to drop in a random position. So you have to, be on the side of the block. Let's say it's always middle, so you're always facing towards the middle of the room.
Exactly, that was my question, because if you're too far left or too far right at the block, you still get fully hit, right?
Yeah, I get it now. No, that's absolutely right. So it's gonna drop in the middle of the room. So you watch the center of the room when you hide from the ice block.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
I have a question. When we start hiding, because I guess it's not you see the first block, you keep away, yes, from each other still, right? Or
yes. So the reason you keep hiding, Sneer, is because other people around you still might get hit from ice bolts, right? And again, there's proximity damage. So yeah.
So just find the tomb next to you, and then we hide after 5th, yes? Let's say 4th, 5th.
Yes. Yes, like you should constantly look for, is there something nearby? Let's say after Ice Bolt 2 latest 3, you should know where to go. If there hasn't anything, like if there's no spawn on your side yet, which again could happen, Petri is probably your best way to be ultra safe. Don't try to, make a run for it if it's getting too close. Just Petri it. Again, we'll bring the resources for everybody to, Petri not only once. We have so many Petris, we can probably rate Petri this mechanic if we wanted to. I'm not saying we should, I'm just saying we could. So as long as you are aware that this is cheesable with a Petri and you understand that, then nobody should die from this. So whenever you're unsure, think like, am I really positioned well, or I feel unsafe, you Petri.
One question.
Except for the main tank. Sorry, Giant.
Yeah, so a question about that. I talked to Rasmus this morning. Do you want me to start moving earlier, like 3 or 4, if there's one, like if they are far? Because then I will probably make it, even if they are far.
Yes, you probably should start moving a bit earlier.
Because I can't Petri. Otherwise, it's everyone needs to Petri anyway.
Exactly.
Can I wanted to ask, like, something that hangs together with it. Is it always a, let's say, Daiso on threat 2 in case Giant has no way making it to a tomb? Or is that
in an
scenario
ideal world that would be nice, but I don't think we'll have the luxury of waiting for damage on Sapphiron to ensure that Daiso is on threat 2. If he can pump enough to that just being the case, very good. But I'm not gonna say don't DPS until Daiso is on threat 2. I think we should just, go for it.
So that means if Giant does not make it to a tomb, it's a raid Petri.
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay.
The problem with raid Petri is you cannot really come out of Petri and just like continue to play the boss. I would probably say it's gonna be Petri Altar 4 and a reset.
Yeah, I know the scenario is very unlikely that Giant doesn't find a tomb, but yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I've seen very bad RNG on this fight. I'm not saying it's gonna happen to us, but it can happen, and we should be aware of it being a thing.
Could he shield wall the
No.
frost bomb?
No. Probably just if Giant he can just run after the first bolt. He can see if it's far away and just run.
Yeah.
No,
So Giant, you
because
have
we
to
need
get
the
up
shield
early.
wall sometime else, or no, because it's
No,
still
it's
too much damage.
75k
No, I
damage.
mean,
75k damage cannot be shield walled.
But isn't shield wall 10%? So it's 7.5?
It's 75.
25%.
25%. Okay, well, never mind then.
Yeah. So Giant, you'll have to find a tomb early. Again, I'm not planning with very bad RNG generally, but yes, go out early.
No, just that people are not panicking if I move
Yeah.
early. Like
Yeah.
they should still keep their cool.
Yeah.
Like that's the important thing.
And that can also be one of your calls, Giant. And it can be one of my calls. I can just say Giant is gonna leave early because he has to be the first to be safe in order to tank everybody else. Stay where you are. Look at your tombs.
I got a question towards Petris. If people decide to Petri early, can they hit by Ice Tomb and we lose an Ice Tomb then? You know what I mean?
If they should be targeted, but Petri just before they are getting hit, I don't know.
But overall, early Petri is useless anyway.
Bad call. I guess it's a bad call to early Petri. I think if by, let's say, Ice Tomb 4 you have not one nearby and you feel like shit, I'll never make it, then you have to Petri. But you shouldn't Petri just because you can on maybe Ice Tomb 1. Just try to play the mechanic. Just for the what if case. I don't think it is a thing, but who knows?
Just
because as far
your
yeah, go
Petri
ahead.
should probably be when it's like time to run. Like during the fourth one, you see, oh, there's no one around. I am now really willing to Petri. Tomb 5 hits, no one is around. Then you just Petri. You just make the call for yourself before. So you have preemptively decided, okay, no one is really close. I'll just Petri this one. Fuck it.
Yeah, it's 7 seconds. It's enough to make a decision and find a button.
Yes. But then again, it's new territory. Some people might, feel unsafe. So let's be ready for all those cases.
And just like mentally prepare for yourself in the moment.
Yeah.
And Blizzard is still active in this phase.
In air phase? No.
Yeah, I just saw it in the video.
It's one that was cast in phase 1.
Oh yes,
but
this one.
He might not I think he doesn't recast it, but it's still there.
There's one moving here. That might be. So all I can say, Refuge, is that Blizzard is listed as a phase 1 mechanic. We can double check it here on the video. Let's see when the Blizzard actually starts getting cast, because so this one disappears. This one is I think Nova's right. I think they just last a very long time, and it's moving, right? So I don't think he's recasting it. I think it's just moving across where it's been cast.
To be fair, it doesn't matter because it exists and it can hit. So if you see Blizzard, run away anyway. You just can't stand and mitigate the damage. It's too much damage from Blizzard.
So I think what is safe to assume is that wait, let me just double check this. I don't want to say things that are not confirmed because that's always bad. Just look at something at the beginning here. Yeah, so these blizzards, I guess, can be random. I'm not sure if they're really bound to a player's position. I don't know. This is hard to confirm, Refuge.
Okay, but as far as I saw and remember, Blizzard ends until the bomb drops, so you should be fine behind a tomb.
Yeah.
Because if you're standing with 5 people behind a tomb and one Blizzard goes through, you have to petri anyway.
Yeah, but you have
Yeah,
already
that-
made the decision that you are willing to petri at that moment, right? Like, this
Yeah.
should not be a problem. We have the resources.
Do
Wait,
they
wait,
still
wait, wait,
DPS in the?
wait,
in the-
Franny, a bit back. MP just running through Blizzard and on the
Nothing
flight
happens,
phase,
yeah.
and he don't get any damage.
Yeah, I've seen that one before, but I thought he just might have been lucky on not getting server tick or something, because I've seen the same thing when I watched this before. I was like, wait a minute, he's not getting
He's
any
not
damage here.
taking damage. You can play back. I can explain. It's not taking damage because the game only updates your position once you land after a jump. So he landed close to the exit of the blizzard. He jumped right before he went in.
He did several jumps there, and
Yeah,
Blizzard
he
ticked
landed.
every second. So
But he jumped from blizzard into blizzard, so I'm not entirely sure.
I want to check the log. Wait, do they have a logs? Actually, Frontier. I will check.
Let's
Yeah,
take
they
that.
do.
Let's take that to.
Yeah.
Let's take that for after.
Sure.
I would not bet my jumping skills on not getting hit by a blizzard. I understand the logic behind it, Syken, but
I'm just sharing with people that might not know when you're jumping. Only when you land, your position on the server will be updated.
Sorry,
and you-
Syken, your background noise is
Never
crazy.
mind.
So let's not bet on the blizzard. You can actually see over here. Look at this blizzard. This blizzard is certainly hitting people. So I'm not sure if they are. These people are getting hit, or am I tripping?
I don't see.
Visually, you're right.
I don't see any debuffs on the raid frames, but it could be configured. Oh no, I see some debuff.
These
Yeah,
people are. This
yes,
guy is taking blizzard damage.
Yes,
So yes,
yes.
it can happen. Refuge.
yes.
Yeah.
So these guys have blizzard debuff, and they're all getting hit in this one. So we have to be aware of this. Good catch. This is
And
I
I
mean,
see casters keep DPSing, right, in the air phase.
Yes.
And it's still the percentage of 10 where he doesn't get up again, or was it another number? When we reach 10% and there should be a airface, he wouldn't go up.
That's 10.
Is it 10?
Yes.
Okay. Last question. When we run inside, Giant is standing left. Is he?
Left.
Where's the boss? What direction is the boss focusing?
Giant is gonna just towards the KT room.
Okay. Just
Giant
to
is
know
just
where
gonna
to
run
place
through,
the
just
imp.
like just like Onyxia. It's just like Onyxia, Paul. So Giant will stay
Okay,
right
yeah.
here, so we can position here. We're not gonna face any other way.
I have a small question. Can Blizzard hit where I am, and what do I do in that case?
It can hit where you are, but you're the main tank, so you say fuck it.
Okay, so I just like eat it and.
You have to. There's
yeah.
there's nothing you can do to move him.
Oh, okay, no, that was just what I was gonna check. Like, so
Yeah,
just heal.
yeah.
You'll just heal through it. Okay.
Yeah,
Maybe-
you have to be, yeah.
Maybe good time for a shield wall.
I mean, I can last stand.
He
to have
can
a
move
bigger
backwards
buffer.
though.
I
Yeah,
just
or you
don't
can-
think
He could move backwards, but
It's not a
could-
big damage for main tank.
I mean, you could also start rotating and say
Yes, we could rotate
like
the dragon.
clockwise, and everybody else.
No,
moves with
no,
it.
No, I'm not
absolutely
gonna
not.
move
Absolutely
like
not.
like
Ah,
that.
okay.
It's like if I guess the duration would be less than 20 seconds for Blizzard, so I can just last stand if that happens, because the likelihood of it happening twice during a fight is like close to 0. So
Okay.
you can just heal through it or so.
How much is a tick of a blizzard?
2k
Okay.
unmitigated.
Okay.
Nothing then. Yeah. So
Not for
shield
you.
wall. Yeah, like a last stand is more than enough to offset the.
Your diamond flask, if you decide to wear diamond flask on this, is almost gonna outtick this blizzard damage. Not almost, it is going to, if it's at the beginning, or for the first minute of your diamond flask.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's also a good question. Do you want to play Diamond Flask or not on this? But yeah, we can decide sooner to
Yeah,
the
that is probably
time.
a question for Deizo and maybe some lock. I mean, I wouldn't look at Frontier locks because they didn't have access to the same loot that we have. We can check Soul of Iron. We can, yeah, maybe look at what the Alliance tanks are wearing to get a better understanding.
Looks even like Windforce is wearing a shield in this fight.
Yes.
Look at
Rus
it.
were wearing shield too.
Yeah,
It's
Sapphiron is known to be a tank killer. He is schlepping.
Yeah, it should be well. We're reinforced resistance. You don't need a lot of TPS, so it should be a shield.
The
100%.
difference is here that they have salvation, right? So keep that in mind.
Sure.
So
probably
this is Alliance. They
we can
have
use Tranquil on the first like 30 seconds on melees too.
it
Depends
is an
on
option.
what totem it takes. If it is the frost totem, then you can't, right?
No, it's not a frost totem.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm just going to point out one thing that they that they point out in the video, which is if they hide behind these ice bolts, they are double escaping and making sure to not target the boss. I cannot give you all the reasons on why they do it. I assume it is just to not kind of, auto hit while the hitbox is massive in mid-air. So I think you are almost able to hit them from, positions where you shouldn't be able to hit them.
It is.
So
Yeah.
we're just gonna
Like
do that. Yeah.
Yeah, in this case,
So
if you hit it from the behind the wall or loss, he will hit you with the frostbolt.
yeah. So let's make sure we all stop attacking.
It can happen even if you cannot hit, if you're not actively hitting Promegos. If you're just targeting him and pointing that way, it can happen.
Can you repeat that, Ole? Sorry.
Okay, never mind. My voice sucks.
Yeah. No, I just didn't fully understand it. But yeah, let's make sure we double escape and don't hit him. Right.
Yeah.
It can happen on Chromagos if you like in the melee spot, and you still hit Chromagos, you can get hit by breath.
Actually, you can easily test it on Doran in library, Scarlet Monastery. When he casts, place him near the wall. When he casts his arcane explosion, when you hide behind the wall and you still attacking him, he will hit you. It's just quite easy to test.
Yeah. So I would say let's not find out. Let's make a conscious call out. Everybody double escape when they're hiding. And then we should be safe in that phase. Okay.
So
that is Sapphiron in
one question. Considering our gear and looking at the damage they did, could we like consider we're gonna have one air phase? They had him like 20% before the second.
Most likely we'll just fucking
yes.
kill him easy.
Yeah. So what we have to consider here is, and there's different ways on how we could do this. We could commit to a double rack, and double rack is one rack for KT, one rack for Sapphiron, which would lead us to logging out for half an hour in between the two, which is probably a good idea. If we all have all warriors rack here, after let's say the first air phase, then we probably end up killing him in that phase as well. However, we're looking at a half an hour lockout after.
I mean, you'll probably have to explain things anyway for half an hour.
Yes.
So, like, that's very reasonable.
Probably 3 cooldowns. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just remember, Rack is extra 20% damage to you.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm just looking in the frontier logs, and Blizzard doing, well, a bit more damage. It's from 3 to 4k.
Per tick.
Yes.
That sounds very odd.
Yes.
Maybe it's warriors with some
No.
buffs,
I'm looking different. It's not on the warriors, but it's unmitigated. 3.2k, 3.5k, 3.3, 3.6 on warrior. Yeah, up to 4k. But it's a bit different, and I'm not sure why.
Circumstance.
Let me double check that.
I understand why it's more on
It's not
warrior,
warriors.
but it's not only warrior. I can share.
Let me just
Take
quickly
it
look at
after,
something here,
otherwise
Harold.
Harold, I guess, if it's specific damage numbers.
Just let me share screen, mate.
You are right. The information I must have gotten is wrong because I'm double checking another source here and it says 3063 to 4k on another. Yeah, I'll adjust that. Thank you, Harold. Because this was taken from Wowhead, which then is incorrect.
But you can petri the Blizzard, right? If you are in the middle and very
Yes.
low.
Yes.
Yes. Yep. So I'll just adjust it. Thank you, Harold.
Okay.
Okay. Any more questions for Sapphiron?
Yes, I have. You said it's a huge hitbox, so in the airface melee should also try to hit it, or
Everybody. Oh, you mean you mean while he's mid-air?
Let's
I don't
say
see
first few tombs, yes.
Let's check here. I don't see.
I think someone is hitting here on. You see
the main
skull.
tank, Windforce,
It's tank.
with his
Okay.
skull.
No, well, this guy was hitting as well. That's certainly not a tank. This guy's running around.
Yeah.
They're not doing it. So let's. This guy, for example, is still hitting for 1 tomb or 2.
Yeah, it's not a problem
I wouldn't.
to hit it there. You should hit when you're hiding. You shouldn't hit.
We don't
now.
have to greed for hitting.
Yeah.
Like,
So I don't see
gonna be
anyone
fine.
hitting here. Let's not do it.
Just stay safe. It's better for you to live than die.
Yeah, I agree.
So if we have like 10, 15 melees staying at this and still hitting, the likelihood of getting the tomb there will be increased. So it's bad, right? We want to split out.
Yeah.
Yeah, only makes sense if you are alone and still close, yes?
Yes, but again, let's just make it a rule. Let's not try to min-max it on the first attempt to that extent. If we ever if we survive this and we pick to ever do this again, then maybe we can consider these things. Or maybe Hansuk, if he's available, we can ask him. I for now, for this session, would say let's not min-max it. Let's just try to be safe and hide, and then make sure we survive.
Do we have a general plan who is standing where? Because we have to make sure that mages can reach everyone, including main tank.
Mages? Why mages?
Decurs?
Decurs.
It's phase 2.
In phase 1.
Yes, we have a raid split.
Yeah,
I said
but
at the beginning we're gonna have mages and druids on both sides for decurs.
Okay, but they need to split on their own to have everyone in range.
I'm not sure I'm under. So
the room is gigantic. We have to. Yes, the mages can't stand next to each other. They won't have everyone on their side in range.
They will, because if how far do you want to spread it? There's you don't have to, like, even if you run a full semicircle from here to here, you will have these guys and yourself as decurs. Or am I missing something? You should never split like far enough. Like, why would you be here when you cannot? Like, they should. Or am I missing something?
The only problem is main tank. Yeah, you could be a bit far away from main tank, so we need to probably assign one dedicated mage or druid for decurs at main tank.
Sure, we can have a certain assignment for giant, but I think in the respective groups on both sides, running out of decurs range is I don't want to say impossible, but you would really need to miss position badly to not be able to decurse. Considering we
Okay.
have 4 decurses per site, I don't see that happening.
Also, we should use pages on towels on giant for 100%, just in case if he's out of range. It's not a
Yeah,
problem.
and I'm pretty sure I've heard someone say that we can macro these the same way we can
Yes.
do EPR.
Yes. You can
So for-
see MP just pressing every time.
Yeah. So we could at least funnel them to giant so he can just macro it because it's not going to trigger on no curse. So it will just be like EPR, so giant is safe and we don't have to worry about him having an assigned decursor. And the decursors can take care of the rest of the raid. Again, the more people have towels, the better, but I'm not going to force people to go and get all the engineering mats for that one hand-in quest, plus doing the follow-up quest, which is an elite quest in EPL. So it's not something you can easily just do by yourself in 5 minutes.
Knowing that the blizzard damage is double than we first assumed, does that change that giant is standing in the blizzard still?
Well, it's probably doubled, but probably it's every 2 seconds, not every second. I'm not sure actually, because
Maybe that is. Wait, let me just double check this here. Yes, yeah, it's actually, yeah, it is exactly this. So I think on Wowhead it says 2k every second, and I think here it says 3 to 4k every 2 seconds.
That makes
That's the
more
same
sense
damage.
because I saw a priest die in 2 ticks of the blizzard. One of Kosi's priests.
With 0 resist, probably.
I don't know what he had. I'm just saying he was 100 to 0 in 2 ticks.
So I just want to make sure, Refuge, we're not missing the point of what you were asking. But if this is, look at this. So this is roughly the position in phase 1 before they start splitting out. I don't see where you would position to not be able to decurse anymore. So if people don't run away from, I don't know, to the end of the room, you should always be in range to decurse.
even if
Like,
you're
I
out of
really
range,
hope
you
this
can
is-
move. It's not a 1 second.
Like, I just put it that way. With the level of decursing we've seen in this guild, I would be highly surprised if that's going to be an issue. So we have 4 decursors per side. Maybe some people get the towels. I think everything else is going to be a bigger issue than the curse. I think we just might have some PTSD from very bad era guilds back in the day that would rather pump for their past than decurse. Yes, Zoe?
I think at the start of the fight, where they established a position, Windforce is standing in a blizzard for the full duration.
Yeah, it's a bit tough to tell. We can check
There it
here. So
is.
he's standing
There it
in
is.
it now.
Yes.
So
There
he's
is the
moving
buff.
back a bit.
Yeah, he moved.
So this is a lucky position for him to be in. You have to consider he moved without the boss really moving. I don't even know if he took a step forward. No,
Like
he
he's
didn't.
moving a few stacks.
He was moving back, but he wasn't max ranged melee him. So this is lucky because the blizzard ends here and he can move. If that happens to giant, but the blizzard is all over him, I wouldn't know where to run unless further back.
So that's maybe a good min-max. If giant starts inside of the hitbox, kind of, he has room to walk back without like ruining the position, let's say. So if you're not standing max melee
I
range,
don't know how the blizzard triggers in terms of positions. We can try it, but
if it's the middle, like on top of a player, then it would make sense. Otherwise, not.
Yeah. Okay, I don't want to drag Sapphiron out, but like if there's important questions, please keep asking them. Otherwise, I'll jump over to KT because that's a big one. But make sure you've asked, or like, you know, that you know what you need to know for this fight. Again, this is the last time we're gonna discuss this, but okay, I'll take that as a boss is understood for now. If thoughts come up after, then please just let's discuss it in Discord or pop me a message or talk among yourselves. I'm gonna share KT now, and KT, like I said, is indeed another big one. There's lots of mechanics and phases to cover, so
Let's go.
let's go. Let me just change my. So, final boss of this game, or at least final boss of Nex, this big boy.
Nice.
So this is just my my thing here. While we are in the Sapphiron room, we are gonna practice the KT positions. So KT is a position fight. There's set positions for every single player in the raid, and we need to make sure that we stick to those positions and don't randomly run around, because that's what we do on other bosses. I have a full map of KT with positions. It's not set in stone, it has to be that way, but it is a kind of thought out positioning. There might be spots where we have ideas for how we could better utilize them, but let's take the map for now, look at it, and then see if there's anything we can to min-max. I've tried my best to make it as good as I can, to my knowledge. So in the Sapphiron room, because it's pretty much the same room as KT room, we're gonna practice these positions. We can also dry run them when we do the 4 horsemen dry run. So there's a couple of options and ways for us to practice this. But I go over the positions in just a second. So for KT, again, frost protection pre-pots, we're gonna have frost resistance on for KT, but not as much as for Sapphiron. So a general rule of thumb is wearing your strongest frost resistance piece for KT still. For some players, that might be 2 pieces. It shouldn't be as much as for Sapphiron, though, because there's no consistent frost damage in the same way there is frostbolt volleys. But there's not an aura that's constantly ticking, so just keep that in mind. We'll have our Jujus up again. We have protection potions up. We can use chromatic on all players. I wish Hansuk was here. I don't think he is, right? No, he's not here. One thing I haven't decided on yet finally, because there's different talks among, casters, healers, and so forth. Technically, melees could wear a chromatic flask on KT because it's beneficial to have less HP on the boss versus a lot of HP. There's a reason for it. But melees could do that. I'll have to confirm with people like Deizo and Hansuk if that's something we want to do as well. Again, having a lower HP pool as a melee can help you, because you might not die from one mechanic as quickly as you would with a high HP pool.
I know Just Bull and Soul of Iron clicked off Zanzas on melees and Titans on melees. Because of Ice Tombs, it's a very high risk to die with a lot of HP on Ice Tombs. So Chromatic Flask is really good there.
Yeah, so we can have that on melees as well. Again, I haven't finalized that piece yet, but if we have people like Hansuk or Deizo, we can. And Deizo is already leaning towards the chromatic resistance. But then again, this is melee specific. Casters or healers again will start with chromatic and then swap over to wisdom spam whenever needed when they run Casters, you can probably just start with supreme power, spam wisdom for mana if needed if you run fully Let's just look at, there's something missing here. Just give me a second. Just need to check something quickly. I'll start with the trash explanation. I think that's a better thing to do before we watch the fight. So I'll start with the trash. So KT phase 1. KT phase 1 is just battling trash. There's a room full of trash. It's a 360-degree room, and there's trash packs in each, not corner, but there's little nooks in which these mobs are. So first off are the unstoppable abominations. Or let me start somewhere else. So these mobs automatically run towards us. It's very important that we don't randomly shoot stuff that's not moving towards us. I have a big red reminder for all the hunters in the guild to not use multi-shot ever on KT. It can literally wipe us. I want hunters to remove multi-shot from their action bar, and it's not even a joke. One multi-shot, and that can lead to us being dead. So again, these mobs automatically aggro and walk towards us, and we only kill them when they come towards us. We never manually pull or do any AoE into these little nooks to pull something towards us. So these unstoppable abominations, those big guys will start walking towards us as one of 3 different mobs. They have a mortal strike and enrage. On alliance, they just hodge them and kill them. We don't have that luxury, so we can just kill them, I guess. We can have maybe rogues spamming kidneys, like getting a few combo points and kidney shotting. That's the best option we have. If we want to giga min max, there's probably, you know, vanish into cheap, but I don't think that's necessary, especially since we could use vanish for frostbolt volleys, but that's another min max. So let's just say we tank them. They can be tanked. Tanks can pick them up. Normal melee should probably not touch them. But yeah, we just, you know, make sure we kill those whenever they walk towards the raid, and you'll see how that looks like in a second. They can be shackled if need be. Shouldn't really be necessary. It is just a side note.
Do you know how long these mortal wounds? It's mortal wound, not mortal strike, right?
It's set mortal wound. I copied it from.
Because that's the
Warhead.
like debuff of, you know, Curinax, Franquist, and
it's
so on.
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
Mortal Strike, I guess.
It's mortal strike. Okay, then no.
I can look it
no
up, Giant,
question.
but I don't know top of my head.
Yeah.
I
No
will
worries.
check.
Can you still see my screen, or is it bugged out now?
I can
Yeah.
still see it.
Okay, it doesn't show for me. Okay. So these are the next guys. These are the soldiers. They are like suicide bombers. They look very harmless, but they're indeed the most dangerous of the trash mobs there. These can never be touched by melees. This is the most important thing you have to remember for phase 1. No melee is touching these guys, ever. Not even a tank. They have such little HP. Literally, healers can want them. Hunters can just shoot them with their bows. Even melees who are, you know, not fighting an abomination at the moment can just shoot them with their bow if they're free. So the whole idea of phase 1 is everybody's kind of looking into a 360-degree room, and we're picking each target as it approaches. But we have to be careful. These soldiers are quite hard to see. They're fairly small compared to the banshees and abominations. So whenever we see one, we need to make sure that we don't let it come close to the raid. So this is, I don't want to say your highest prior target, but if they're halfway towards us, anyone should like damage them when they can. So mages and warlocks and hunters do have a separate assignment, so that shouldn't be their job to kill it. But if you see one run loose, give it a fire blast. I don't know, shoot it with whatever, you know, options you have. Just make sure they die. I don't know the exact damage number that they can deal, but the dark blast, so the detonate on connect, I think it can one-shot pretty much everyone in the raid, but maybe the main tank. So, yeah, just keep that in mind.
By the way, about abomination, yes, it's mortal wound. It stacks. It's 10% reduction of hitting. So don't stack it too much.
Yeah, I mean, we have enough tanks and fury tanks, so if one is stacked and there's more abominations than we can tank, then we can have a 4th or 5th tank pick it up. I don't think they're going to one-shot anyone. From what I've seen, they look fairly normal. Then we have these banshees. They have an AoE shadow damage and a knockback if people get hit by it, so that's why we try to eliminate them before they get anywhere close. They are super slow and they take a long time until they reach the middle, so the abominations and skeletons are fairly fast. These are super slow and take a long time until they get to us. This is for the mages, warlocks, and hunters. These are your prior 1 target, and it's probably easiest if you all shoot one banshee at the same time all together. You might waste a bit more mana than needed, but having these down 1 by 1 is easier than splitting the 10 of you and trying to separately kill them, because that's just going to end up having them run towards us, closer and closer. Yeah, so big AoE damage. If they connect, they will not just randomly cast from their furthest position. So just be aware this is your target. This is phase 1. Phase 1 is just killing mob after mob after mob. It's not going to be increasingly more. It's just, a couple of mobs at the same time in the 360 room that we have to, kill.
Aren't they? I thought it's a bit more intensive at the end.
Maybe a little bit, but it's you'll see it in the video. Like if people just do what they're supposed to do, it's not absolutely crazy. The one thing that can happen is that we maybe have 1 or 2 banshees left. I would hope that's not the case. Best case, we have 1 or none left. I wouldn't like to see 2. That's why you should all focus your damage on the banshees. That's for the ranged and casters, to get them down one by one instead of splitting, so we don't end up with like 2 50% HP banshees while phase 2 kind of happens. Then again, I wouldn't worry about phase 1 too much. I think our rate is more than solid in that regard. Just make sure everything's dead by when phase 2 starts.
Do you have a picture?
Picture of
the room? Because there's like we will be in the middle. No one's walking out of this middle section, right?
Yes.
This
I'll
is
show you the
important.
picture in just a second. I'm
Oh.
gonna watch the video and the picture. Just want to cover what's happening in each phase before we kind of put everything together.
Mhm.
So in phase 2, instead of being in the middle, we're all gonna spread to we're gonna spread apart and find our position in the room. So these positions we're gonna practice before we enter KT. We'll practice them in the Sapphiron room. I have a picture for orientation that will let you know where you should be. And the reason for why we have to spread out is the mechanics that are following in phase 2 and phase 3. So as it says here, in phase 2, we'll all prioritize positioning. Again, we have to kill remaining ads. They're not going to despawn, so whatever is left has to be killed while KT is starting to clap, giant. So it has to be quick, or best case, everything is dead by when the boss spawns. We'll have the melees split into 3 groups around KT, while giant has its own spot as, call it camp 4. So there's 4 camps around KT, 3 melee camps, and 1 camp as giant. I'll talk about why that is in just a second. Just take it as it is for now.
Can I ask a short question, Franny, without interrupting?
Yes.
You said practice. When are we practicing that?
After we kill Sapphiron.
Okay, so right after. Okay, that's good. Thank you.
So we have half an hour cooldown on rec anyways. We can all just boon whatever pot we need to. Maybe repot is completely fine, but we can just use that room to practice position. We can do 1 run even before that, or we can do both, or just this. As long as people, there's a picture, we can be in the Sapphiron room. So if we survive it, let's practice. Let's practice there. Yeah. One thing, these are just side notes for me. I just want to call them out here as well. I'm going to read them to you anyways. For warriors, it's really important that at the start of phase 2, we get all the AoE fears out, just like on Scarum. Because we have mind controls which can cause AoE fear. That's going to be very bad, so we have to make 100% sure that AoE fear is out on every warrior. Hunter's Killer, I think I've talked to you yesterday around this. We should dismiss pets for phase 2. I don't care about pet damage, but we need to make sure that they don't chain the Frost Blast ability into other melee camps if pets are mispositioned. So the safest way is just, dismissing them.
Agree.
The rogues, the Blade Flurry, it's also no, right? And you should probably also use it.
Just use it on start of the fight because
I was
it's timed.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So the first mind control, just as the warriors are using their fear to get it off in phase 2 beginning, you should also use your blade flurries immediately. Just watch your threat, obviously, but you should just use it to,
Yeah.
You can even click it off if you want to. Okay, let's walk over the phase 2 mechanics. So phase 1 is over, all ads are dead. We now position to our, individual spot in the room. Now it's phase 2 mechanics. First mechanic is Frostbolt. That will always target the highest threat. So in that case, Giant Forged. It's this high damage blast that can really one-shot or almost one-shot a tank, especially if he's not fully topped up. There's going to be assignments for rogues and warriors in the melee camps to kick it at all times. This is the most important thing for everyone that is a warrior or a rogue. You pummel and you kick. This mechanic should never go through, and it's the only kickable mechanic on KT. Yeah, so make sure to always have energy up to kick it. I can do assignments, but I need to trust those people keeping energy available or rage available to kick. Okay. And again, Giant can die from this, so this is not optional. If Giant gets hit by it and he's the only target and he's, let's say, below 75%, and you'll see Windforce almost die to this here because somebody missed their kick. This is game over. Like there's not much we can do if this ever happens. So it's probably one of the most important things here. The second mechanic, and this is raid wide, is going to be Frostbolt Volley. So every 15 seconds, he's going to shoot a rate-wide AoE volley, which cannot be kicked, not interrupted, nothing. The only thing that helps is greater frost protection potions. Mages you could ice block, but you not ice mages, so that doesn't help. There's a little min-max here with rogues who could vanish these volleys, Zoe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah, so rogues could min-max a vanish on these frostbolt volleys, but that's only once. But it's still good if you're low HP or, yeah, for whatever reason you have a vanish to spare, then use it. It does help the rate a lot if all rogues do this. Then we have chromatics up. We can use frost rest totems on the shamans. We have a bit of frost resistance gear on us, jujus, etc. So these volleys will hit every 15 seconds. It's going to be a lot of damage, so it's important to repop your GFPP, so frost protection, whenever we can. You can also bandage in between. Just one little thing for mages, and it's not even a min-max. It's just I've done it wrong many times, so learn from my mistakes as a mage back in the day. Make sure to only start using Evo after Frostbolt Volley, because sometimes you're just like, oh, I have to Evo, and then you Evo, and Frostbolt is literally about to hit you. You lose half your Evo, and your mana is gone. So just be aware of that. It's something you can easily take care of to not lose mana, and you will be after phase 1 most likely. So Evo is going to be very, very important. Even with all your cooldowns as a mage, you are very high there's a high likelihood of you running out of mana quickly. So everything has to be min-maxed. Another thing for mages, sorry, it's just very mage specific, but I remember that from my day. Start with your greater mana protection, greater mana potion as early as you can, and it's specifically mana potion because you want your frost protection potion to be up again for phase 2. So don't use Jade first, don't use demonic rune first. The first thing you use should be mana potion, so you have frost protection potion up again for phase 2, because you won't have another chance on mana potion, most likely.
Do you think we should have used frost protection on the phase 2 instead of mana potions? I'm just well, I think my mana.
So this is how I used to play it. I had one pre-potted, and then I used mana potion in phase 1 to keep my mana high. But then in phase 2, I just frost protection potion all the way. I just ran all the time.
Yeah, I know. So I just thought about the mana potions instead of second frost protection on the phase 2.
You should use wisdoms.
Okay.
Wisdoms should be your mana potions on KT. I know you're gonna lose spell power, but it's better to have mana to cast fireball than standing there with spell power, flask, and not being able to cast anything. And just one thing I've pointed out, sorry, last mage thing here promised. Apparently rank 7 fireball is the best in terms of mana to damage, so just keep that in mind, or double check my old knowledge.
Confirm it.
Okay, yeah.
All the ranks of scorches and fireballs.
If you run and KT, really is maybe the only fight where that's ever gonna happen to this extent. Use fireball rank 7 as mages. But I'm gonna move on with mechanics now. So this is Frostbolt Volley happening every 15 seconds, and we have Frostbolt on the highest threat target, which should be kicked, okay? Mechanic 3 is Shadow Fissure, which is usually the killer mechanic for some people here. So Shadow Fissure is gonna spawn this little, I don't know, red glowing circle. It's not a circle, but it's a weird like ornament kind of looking thing that's spinning. It just runs for a very few seconds, and then it's gonna just kill you. So the only way to survive this is either Petri or running out of the Shadow Fissure. So you can just sidestep it, wait for 2 seconds until it's gone, step back to your position. That goes for everyone. This is also the reason we are not stacked anywhere except for the melees that have to be stacked for another mechanic. But if you're ranged and you have Shadow Fissure under you, you move out of it. There's one more problem with Shadow Fissure, which is the last mechanic, which is Detonate Mana. So Detonate Mana is only targeting mana users, but randomly. So it can be healers, hunters, mages. Anyone that has mana can be targeted by Detonate Mana. It's going to burn half their mana over 5 seconds, and then they explode, dealing arcane damage around you. So firstly, we're going to have GAPPs also pre-potted. Yeah, just in case somebody mispositions or somebody is getting hit when they shouldn't. GAPP is going to tank a chunk of this.
Sorry, Franny,
yeah.
It's nature damage.
Are you sure?
Yes, I've checked logs. It's nature damage. Arcane. Okay. Yeah, I know somewhere in guides it's stated as arcane, but it's nature damage.
Well, thank you for double checking.
I will double check it more and post it.
No, it's fine. I'll just take a note here.
We can have both anyways, right?
Yes.
We could have both.
We
Sure,
need.
absolutely.
I would say we need everyone, every protection potion because of well, my mind control. You can get some damage from friendly
You're
fire.
absolutely right. Yes. Yep. Good point. Let me just. Just gonna take a note here. Why is this looking so weird? This is better. Anyways, thank you, Harold. We should pre-pot everything. You're 100% right on this. So now one thing I want to outline is a very, very weird exceptional case, but I've had it happen myself, and it's the worst thing that can happen if you're not prepared for it. I wasn't, and I killed people. Can't see that happening in hardcore, so in softcore it didn't really matter too much. So Shadow Fissure is, you move out of the area glowing under you and you're fine. Detonate Mana, however, walks, it's bound to your character. So if you run around with Detonate Mana, which is the second reason we are staying spread apart, you will detonate others as well. So if you have the Detonate Mana on you and just run through someone else, they will get hit for the same damage as you. So that is one thing to keep in mind. However, what can happen is the exception, or like the worst RNG possible. You can get hit by Shadow Fissure and Detonate Mana at the same time. So if you would be Shadow Fissured only, you move out. If you have Detonate Mana, you just stay where you are. So you just explode for yourself. It's not going to kill you, yeah, but you're going to take damage and your mana is going to be depleted a little bit. But you just stay where you are. This is why you have a set position so Detonate Mana doesn't hit anyone else but you. Don't panic. Don't run anywhere. Just stay where you are. However, you can get Shadow Fissure and Detonate Mana at the same time. It is very, very unlikely to happen, but it happened to me, and I did the mistake and started moving. If this should happen in our raid, that you get, as a mana user, both Detonate Mana and Fissure, the best thing you can do is Petri, because Shadow Fissure is Petriable. Detonate Mana, as far as I know, is not. So the damage you would take anyways by Detonate Mana, if you would not Petri, remains the same in Petri, but you help everybody else by not moving. So this has to be Petried. I hope this makes sense.
I will let you can avoid damage from detonate mana by the Petri, but you cannot avoid mana burn from detonate mana.
Exactly. But then again, you Petriing makes sure that you don't move into other people who will get damaged. So it's not about you surviving, it's about you not killing other people, because I, as a mage, killed 5 melees walking into them when I walked out of Shadow Fissure, not realizing I had Detonate Mana on me. I hope this doesn't happen in our raid, but I know it can happen because it happened to me. So if both should happen on you, you just Petri, because you're just taking the same.
How big is the hitbox of Shadow Fissure? Because Sand Trap, for instance, is a bit bigger than the visualization.
I do not know, but we can watch it because it's happening here. It's not much further than the visual, but you'll see it in the video second because there is one that's recorded that you can see here. Okay, this isn't it. There's 2 more mechanics in phase 2, so this is why KT is a lot. Next mechanic is the Chains of Kel'Thuzad that happens every 60 seconds. It is always gonna hit the main tank and 4 melees, which is a mind control. So Giant will be mind controlled and 4 random melees will be mind controlled. This is a full threat reset, right? Because Giant is getting mind controlled. So we have to DPS stop every single mind control until the mind control is over. We can have a second tank, if Dazo is still free, Stalwart is still free, they can pick it up and start, just getting threat on the boss so it's hitting them. Then we can either decide to have them main tank it, or Giant, you could take over. Giant is something that we can both take away, how we want to play it. It's either tank swap or, keeping it low key until you come back from mind control. However, more importantly, mages, you need to sheep those targets. I'll bring magic dust for everyone in the raid to magic dust these people. If there's anyone running loose that is not sheep because a mage just died or they already sheeped someone, there's nobody in range, whatever the case is, magic dust will be on all of you. So you can just magic dust them, put them asleep, and don't touch them again. Otherwise, it's just a normal mind control. That's why we get the fears out. That's why we get the blade flurries out, so we don't, kill other people. Mages will be placed across the room, so there should be one in range. But yeah, it's sheep spam them first. If they still run around, we magic dust them.
Can you add one thing, Frenny? You know where you had the notes with the use fears for warriors? Just
Yeah.
add if you're a Tauren, you should use your stomp also, because otherwise you just
Yes.
stomp your allies.
Yes. Let me just add that to the... Yep, thank you. Okay. So this
It's
is
probably the same for Blood Fury, because if you get hit by damage, it'll get half healing. So just pre-use it, right? The orc ratio.
Yep. So this is mechanic 5. It's a chain mind control again. It's the main tank or highest in threat, and 4 melees. Not, you know.
Are we sure about melees? Why ranges can't be affected? I remember
They
ranges getting mind controlled.
They can be, yes. But how do I better put it? You are right, Refuge. It can be ranged as well. Let me just rephrase it to tank and 4 random targets. Then we're on the safe side. So just be vigilant. You're right here. This is not melees only. I think especially if you misposition, this might change. But I need to look into the details to confirm that. Let's just say 4 random people. Okay, the last mechanic on KT, I know this is a lot, it's a lot for me as well, is Frost Blast, which happens every 30 seconds. So remember, there's volleys flying out, there's people getting targeted by Detonate and Shadowfisher, there's Frostbolt on tank if it's not kicked, there's the mind control chains happening. Lastly, it's the Frost Blast. This targets a random player and freezes them for 5 seconds in their place. All the nearby players will also be frozen. It's 10 yards apparently. Don't quote me on it. This is just what I've taken from the online resources. While they are in the cube, and this is the targeted player only, not the people nearby. So again, this targets one random player and freezes them. All the other players will be frozen as well, but they are not going to take the damage outlined here. So this is why we lower the HP pool of people. So as Harold and I said earlier, it's better to play with a lower HP pool here as a melee, because you will take less damage on Frost Blast, because it's percentage based on your health pool. So if you have 10k HP and you take 104% over a couple of seconds, those chunks are going to get bigger, so we have to heal more, and your likelihood of dying is, higher. So
in this case, chain heal will just save you. Like one bounce will just
one
save
heal,
you.
exactly. Anything will heal. Like any little heal will prevent you from dying. However, there's other mechanics happening at the same time. So don't just, think, oh, flash heal rank 1 is going to save this guy because he's on 1 HP now. There's other things happening as well. So we should always make sure people are topped off when we can. But yeah, they take 104%. Some sources say 120. I don't know the exact number, but it's more than 100.
Is it frosted?
I would assume so.
Is it 120% of their current health, or current health plus health from
total health pool?
Max health.
Yes.
Yeah, max health or max health plus greater frost protection potion.
Total health pool.
Just max health.
So
if it's
in a
10K,
sense, even if they had a greater frost protection potion that's still intact, they could survive it just by
the
that,
frost protection potion is going to be out by then anyways. It's very unlikely it's still up after the frost volleys have been shot at them.
Okay.
So this is not really mitigated. This, you should always consider this being full damage, because the frost volleys will just shoot, every 15 seconds.
I mean, like, the only thing you should do is just spam frost protection potion right on cooldown.
Yes.
I guess in this fight. Why not?
Again, you will have chromatic resistance. You will have shaman totems. You will have frost resistance gear on. So it's all mitigated. This might still be mitigated by the time we get there. I wouldn't bet on it. So just take it as you will take 104% of your total health. Everything else does not matter. You take your GFPP on cooldown. That's all you can do. Everything else is on the healer. So let's not overthink it. Let's just say this is what's going to happen. This is all 6 mechanics in phase 2. Now, to make it even more fun, there's phase 3. So in phase 3, which starts at 40% of KT, all phase 2 mechanics will still be happening, but there's one more mechanic. So all cooldowns will be kept for phase 3. You know, recklessness and those kind of things will not be popped beforehand. This is and then again, people will still get unlucky. So if warriors get mind control and KT pops your rec, well, firstly, that's bad because you might one-shot someone if they're not instantly sheeped, but also we don't have it for phase 3, but this is a risk we have to take because we need, a high damage execute phase. In phase 3, we'll have Guardians of the Ice Crown spawn. So these are 4 little, they look like a Nubrakan. They're these bug-like creatures. They have set spawn points, and we have priests positioned at these locations that can shackle them. However, and this is important for the whole raid to understand and for all priests to understand, only 3 of them can be shackled at a time. So even if you bring 6 priests, you cannot have everyone, all of them shackled. They are limited to 3. It's hard-coded into the game. If you shackle the 4th one, you're actually griefing. So we're going to have the priests kind of make sure they only shackle 3 and not shackle again after that, because if you shackle the 4th one, they're all going to be freed and then you have to reshackle them. So the 4th shackle will trigger all of them to be freed from their shackle. It's just one of their mechanics. They also have this blood tap mechanic, which will make them just, draw blood, kind of. And it's a stackable buff that makes them stronger and bigger with each tap. You can see here, it stacks to 99. I don't know exactly what the scaling is because I haven't really found any detailed information on how much they scale.
Sorry, Freddy. There is 5 Guardians spawns, not 4.
Where are you looking at this?
I'm just
Where was
looking
I looking at this?
Soul of Iron logs. They had 5. And I remember that there were 5, but I'm looking logs. There were 5.
I can confirm it's 5.
Lovely. Well, then we have 2 loose. Sorry about that. Then all the shit I'm looking at has been somewhat wrong. What did we learn? Never trust Wowhead. Just give me a second.
What have we learned? Harold trusts nothing. That's
which is
what
good.
we have learned. Yes. Yeah, it's really good. Critical thinking.
Sorry, I just have to look something up. It's going to take me a minute or 2. Okay, I can't find it as quickly as I would like to, so I'm just gonna assume it is 5 and not 4. Though I'm not sure if it sticks, if we stick to 3 shackles now, or if it's adjusted to 4. Let's just assume it's 2 running loose. But then again, so let's assume it's 2 running loose, then those 2 have to be, off-tanked. They cannot just run loose and kill people, so we need 2 off-tanks to just run out and kind of keep them in check in their positions while the other 3 are consistently shackled. Otherwise, it's just like phase 2. Every phase 2 mechanic is still going to happen the same way, whilst we have 3 of those guys shackled and 2 are being off-tanked. It doesn't really change much of the boss fight, but it adds a little bit of extra stress to people. So yeah, we'll just have to make sure we keep those guys in check. There's been a lot of talking now for KT. I just want us to watch the boss fight for now, so we understand how all this put together looks. And I'm just gonna,
Question for the ads whilst you are looking at that. Why aren't we using Goblin rocket helms?
We can use them, and we will on, I think Killer is gonna use it, right? Weren't you one of the people?
No.
Are you not? I thought Rasmu talked to you about wanting to use one.
We haven't talked about it.
Okay, I thought Rasmu talked to you about one. Okay, but yes, we can use those. We can make sure we have 2 people to use a Goblin rocket helmet here. We have enough engineers that should be able to use one. Just one thing in general, this is for people who have never done KT in Classic. So you can walk into this room without anything much happening. Once you start entering the circle, this is going to trigger phase 1. Okay, so now they're entering, and this is going to trigger.
I don't see anything. You're not
yeah.
streaming.
Oh, sorry. Why doesn't anyone say anything?
I mean, sometimes you're just talking and we're just listening.
No. So this is this circle I've been talking about. So this is triggering, once you step in here, it's triggering phase 1. Before here, you can just...
Don't see.
It is shared though.
Yeah, it's shared now.
Yeah, I see.
So this area, this little octagon or whatever it is, it's probably more than an octagon. This is gonna trigger phase 1. So as you can see now, everything in these corners have spawned. So all these positions over here have these mobs I talked about. So this is the phase 1 of KT. And now just in a 360, these mobs will randomly start walking towards you. Like I said, we cannot AoE here because it's all gonna pull. So you cannot just randomly shoot something. There cannot be any multi-shots or any AoE. It will just bring those mobs towards us. So all we do here is just position and wait. And you'll see things slowly approaching. So there was the first skeleton kind of moving towards this right here. And you can see the warriors and everyone just like shot it down. It has very low HP. So these guys can just be ranged out by hunters, wands, anyone. Mages, you shouldn't waste your mana on these warlocks neither. There's enough free healers and melees that can just give it a bow shot to kill it. So you can see these abominations are being hodged here, which we don't have access to, so we'll just tank them and kill them. Let's just check the HP pool they have roughly, what is it? 80k? 90. So 90k HP on these guys. So what you can see, this is the first Banshee moving. For all the casters and range that are new to KT, you can confirm if a Banshee is safe to shoot if she has someone targeted. So whenever they target someone and you see target of target, they are safe to attack. Again, no AoE, but you can single target damage them. Even when they're far out, they will not social aggro. So just check the target of target and they can be attacked. So from here on out, it's everybody's job to kind of work in a 360 degree, just check where things are approaching. And then you just kill mob by mob. So this is something I want to point out. The skeleton is still safe, but you shouldn't walk any closer. Again, these explode, so don't run into them, even if you walk up to an abomination. Always make sure the skeletons are taken care of. Those can be shackled, by the way, so if one should approach untouched, priests can also shackle them just to keep them in check. And then we can take care of them.
By the way, about stunning abominations, we can use intercept. It's 3 seconds, but it's better than nothing. Just care and don't intercept too far.
Just look at this Banshee here, please. I just want the casters to understand how early they can attack, because those are my biggest concern in phase 1. I'm not concerned about these abominations. I'm not really concerned about the skeletons if handled right, but these Banshees need to be attacked early, because if we have those at the beginning of the phase 2, then they will deal AoE damage to people when we don't,
Usually you have 1 or 2 of them left in phase 2.
Yeah, I know, but it's the less the better. We also always used to have like 1 or 2 left. I'm not sure if you can get to 0. I've never seen 0 before.
We can. Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
So as you can see here, phase 1 is pretty easy at the beginning. Again, this might speed up a little bit, but not drastically. It's not going to be all of a sudden zombie apocalypse. Everything's going to run towards us.
It looks like
Just
about
gonna-
a 5-minute phase 1
Yeah.
or so.
Yeah, it is timed. So I'm just going to fast forward a little bit here, not much. Just going to give you a couple of frames. You can watch the whole phase if you want to in your own time. Just want people to understand what it roughly looks like, because phase 2 and 3 is way more important. So yeah, rough assignments here are melees on the big guys, casters on the banshees, and everyone who is free in between should always take care of these skeletons. Again, they have very, very little HP, like 1,000 or something. A fire blast can kill them.
No, it's like 8,000.
Is it 8k?
As far as I remember, yes. But it's still free of forecasts. It's not a lot. Actually,
Just
can
target one.
check in logs.
He doesn't have. Yeah. I think 8k sounds like a lot. Okay, we're nearing the end of phase 1 here, so I'm just going to fast forward a little bit. By the way, just want to show you this. This is very, very dangerous. This is very bad. So this is something we have to avoid at all costs. The skeletons is about to run into the melees, and they're lucky it didn't trigger here. Yeah, see, they have like 2k HP.
Yeah, you're right. It's 2k HP.
Yeah. So it's
even less,
very, very low.
1.5.
Yeah, it's very low. So a fire blast and like a bow shot will almost kill them. So now I'm just going to fast forward a couple of frames. This is now the end of phase 1. And you'll see there's still banshees. So you're now seeing the stuff that has not been told yet just despawns. So this it's never going to mean that all of this is be killed. It's end of phase 1, as you can see in DBM here. So everything that has not yet approached the raid is just going to despawn. So here there's still one banshee left approaching from this corner. So this is a situation where all the theory kind of like is thrown out the window for a little bit, because it is actually your time to position now, but we still need to kill it. So this is something where we have to commit at least some raid damage to killing the banshee, whilst KT is about to spawn. So we'll have to. That this is something that individually has to be taken care of, or we have to kind of see how it goes. For now, this is just positioning KT. You'll see 3 groups here. You see nipple, purple, and triangle. This is the 3 melee camps I was talking about, and this is the rectangle, including the tank. So giant, you're just going to be, I don't care where you tank it, you could tank it this way, and the melees could be in this triangle, the other way around, doesn't matter, as long as we,
Wait, can you
agree
go
to one.
back just 10 seconds
Yes.
when he moves it in? Just
Yep.
he just backpedals it right all the way.
Yeah.
So I'll just do the same. I'll just backpedal it into
Yeah.
the middle of the room, and then people can position accordingly. Okay.
So now what you can see is everyone is on their set position, right? So this is roughly 10 yards away from one another. Everybody's spread out. I have these positions ready. I'll need to adjust them with this. So my tanking position was the other way around, but it's fine, Giant. We can adjust it to this.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably easier because then you would have to turn the boss.
Yeah.
So the next thing to take care of is these melee stacks. Again, this is just so that the frost blast cannot chain into these packs. So we keep it to the one group targeted and not chain it. This, by the way, Hunter Pet, this is exactly why I said it. This should not be here. This has to be gone, because this pet could chain the ability on this group into this group or vice versa. So Hunter Pet bad.
But
take a look
It
at the
did
report.
die there.
Yeah, it did
One
die
shot.
here, luckily, from the frostbolt volley. But I just want everyone to look at the raid frames. So this is the damage you could see go out here. It's a lot, just from the volleys. So remember, it is volleys, it is Fisher, it is detonate mana. You just saw someone explode back there. This was his mana bomb. The volleys are flying out. This was the kick. This was the interrupt. This is just for main tank, so he cast that on Wind Force. This is what can almost one-shot even Giant Forged. This is Shadow Fisher. So this is what it looks like. It's this ornament looking almost like a clockwork or whatever you want to call it. So pay attention to the range. They walk far out. And they walk back in.
And we're also supposed to walk out. That's the
Yes.
Unless it's me, then I have to
You too.
cycle, right?
No, you have to run out, Giant.
So okay, yeah.
Everybody
This
has
one
to
shot
walk.
too.
Yes.
Yeah, but like I mean, the option is to walk back out or turn.
It's walk
Like-
back, because if you turn, you can change Ice Stomp.
Okay, yeah.
But isn't it better that you just move into one of the melee camps?
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, okay.
he could do that.
But that would be
was
the only exception. That would be me to doing it.
so there's two ways of playing this. You can either have 4 camps or you can have 3 camps. I do not know what the better option is. I've seen people put their main tank into one of these camps as well. I just don't know which way is better. I just want to go back again. By the way, if we can just figure that out together at some stage. Doesn't have to be now. Let's maybe just revisit this after we all understand what's happening. So this is the mind control. So now you've seen these guys all getting mind controlled, and then
It's
they die.
3 million one ranged.
In this case, yeah.
What killed them?
So what killed them here? Let's go back.
I stomped
So this is the mind.
frostbolt.
So this is the mind control, and now I want to see if I can get the right frame. I'm not exactly sure when it happens, and if we can see it here. So this ability was the let me just find the right name so I don't mix it up. This is the Frost Blast, right?
Ice Tomb.
It
Was
was
it Ice Tomb?
Stomp into Frostbolt, which is a single target Frostbolt. Not Frostbolt
It was
volley, but
Frostbolt what
Frostbolt.
killed MP. Yes, so this is different deaths, so we have to separate this. If you look at the threat meter, remember Frostbolt is only on the highest threat player. Sorry, this is Frostbolt. So Frostbolt is the highest threat target. MP is highest threat here because mind control just reset the threat, right? So you can see in the threat meter, MP is highest in threat here. He is in the fuck. Why are these abilities all with the same name?
Tomb.
He's an ice tomb, so this is what hit him first, and he does not get topped off. So you can see he's at roughly half HP here, pretty much half HP. This is ice tomb, and now this is the one that's interruptible. So this should have been kicked by a warrior or rogue. He just gets blasted. That is what kills him.
It was a mess because of mind control. I stomp at the same time.
Yes,
mages were shipping melee were far away, so yeah.
But the reason doesn't matter, Harold. We need to execute anyway.
I mean, we need to pay attention and keep one mage or one rogue in the situation to interrupt it.
Yeah.
This is really unlucky.
Yes,
though.
it's really unlucky, but we need to consider it.
But it's also only phase 2 at 50%.
So see, this damage is still constantly hitting. So it's always frost protection potions. You can bandage in between. Don't always wait for a healer to save your ass. You can bandage yourself at least once. You can use a major health stone if available. You can even use the Fellwood buff food, not buff food, the Fellwood Night Dragon's Breath or whatever it's called. Because this is a lot of damage. So now KT has, dropped below 40%, which is going to spawn the Guardians of the Ice Crown. So these guys will be shackled. There's one here. There's a second spawning over here now.
Do we consider to damage stop because of mind control and incoming ads at the same time?
Yes. Except for the tanks, we should DPS stop, so it's no random threat on people. We should make sure it's always on one of the tanks. And if Giant is mind controlled, then it hopefully should be on Dazo or Stovor. So yeah, you can see it's 5 here. 3 of them are shackled. 2 of them are running loose. They're going to be picked off by tanks now. And we can just move them outside and keep them in a, safe area where there's no one left.
We had 2 Fury warriors just go defensive stance, put on a shield and tank them.
Yeah. I mean, we have Pike, who can pick at least 1, or maybe even 2, but probably just 1.
Basically same
we
for
have
KT. If you DPS warrior, you can tank him anyway.
Yeah. So this is all of it put together. What we can do now is maybe just watch it again, not phase 1, but maybe let's just start at phase 2. I think let's go phase by phase. Is there any questions for phase 1 and how we're gonna play this? I think the roles should be fairly straightforward and clear. Phase 1 should not be a challenge. It's just a little gimmick, except for the Banshees, maybe that we might have 1 or 2 left of in phase 2.
Are Banshees dangerous only for the target or for everyone around them?
It, at least on my not accurate resource I've been using, says AoE shadow damage.
Yeah, it's everyone around, and it's not only damage, but it's knockback.
Yes, true. It's knockback as well.
Okay, so you can't range tank them and the melee intercepts and executes. That's nonsense then.
Yeah, you can see Ampi was shooting with his crossbow at the phase 2 start.
Those abominations, they don't have a cleave, right?
Let me double check that. I don't think they do. At least I did not take note of.
Because I see a lot of people standing in front of them, but they're also stunned, so ours won't be stunned.
Just don't over-threat
They
on
don't
them. They hit hard.
They don't have cleave according to Wowhead, at least, Stover.
Okay.
So the only thing they do have is an enrage and the mortal wound debuff.
How long is the mortal wound debuff? You don't know, right?
15 seconds.
15, okay.
The abomination, they hit so hard, or they just preserve mana by stunning them?
Sorry, say that again, please.
They hit so hard that they stun them, or they just save mana for phase 2?
They stun them because they can.
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome. It's
Yeah,
just
but
they
I
do have
wonder
Hodge
if
and it
we
has no
don't.
other. Yeah.
Well, they're doing a lot of damage, but it's not a super high damage.
Oh, so Giant will survive this, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Don't Thunder Fury tank this.
I'll just not
Good
hit
point.
anything.
You can chain into the chain into the packs outside. Yeah. Good point. Thank you.
I'll just not hit anything and just shoot bows.
Yeah. I'm not hitting.
Exactly.
So we're at phase 2 now. You can see here there's a few people just finishing off the Banshee. What I do like about this is that it is only the people that are kind of in this direction or like in this area anyway. So you don't see random people from other areas just run in to kill that Banshee, which I do like. But it's also because the Banshee is somewhat low HP. So this is something you can only prepare for so well. We should make sure that we have as little Banshees as possible and that they're as low as possible before we head into phase 2. If we see a full HP one, we need to kind of get rid of it ASAP. But we cannot all be clumped in random spots. So I don't know what the perfect call here is, to be honest. Like, this is very individual to what it looks like when we enter phase 2. But it should be arranged, focusing on killing them first while melee have to position here. So melees cannot really go play with the Banshees in phase 2. They need to be in the circle here in these stacks. Just going to pause here for a second. Is there any questions for the mechanics in phase 2 for Shadowfisher, Mana Bomb, Frostbolt Volley?
Is KT... Sorry.
Yeah, go on.
Is KT affected by Curse of Tongues? I guess not.
Do not know.
I
would
guess
no.
So.
I don't think so.
It's a fucking arc lich of the game, probably not, but you never know.
Yeah. I just want to make one thing clear again, because it might have been a bit unclear when I explained it first. So for the Frost Blast ability, the last mechanic we walked over in phase 2, the split on these teams is so it cannot change. So the Frost Blast will target a random player and freeze them for 5 seconds. But it says all nearby players will be frozen. So all is, I think in proximity. This is why this pet could grieve. This ability to jump over here and another pet here could force everyone to be frozen. So this is how you limit the number of people that can be frost blasted, right? So I hope this makes it more clear. This is also why generally having less melees, I'm not talking no melees, I'm saying less melees is better on a boss like KT, because you just, mitigate the risk of more people getting chained or getting damaged, whilst you still need melee damage, of course. There is a world in which it is better to have few people less.
Maybe obvious, but max range and pixel stack.
Yes, good point though. I think it's obvious if you know it, but I think pointing it out is a really good point. So max range and pixel stack is. So you can see here these people get immediately magic dusted. By the way, we can just have magic dust targets, target enemy player, which might end up magic dusting the same target, or at least attempting to magic dust the same target. However, everybody will have access to magic dust in the rate I've bought, and not like enough for all of us. So I think if we just spam it plus sheeps, there should never be any loose targets running towards someone.
Just an idea, Frenny. I think Magic Dust shares cooldown with Target Dummy, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, something like this, yeah.
So,
let me check.
I'm pretty sure it does.
I think it does.
Yeah, which means it might not be the best idea to give it to
It's Healthstones and Mana Gems dude then.
Yeah. So I would rather suggest maybe having a couple of target enemy players, and the rest is people just selecting it, and maybe the people that don't have engineering take it.
Well, Magic Dust share cooldown with grenades and sappers, so just don't use sappers and grenades.
Exactly.
Even if it would share with target dummies, I don't really see a perfect or good use case for target dummies on this boss.
It Healthstones. Healthstones.
Sorry.
Healthstones.
Okay, Healthstones. Yeah.
So. But yeah,
if it is
grenades,
Healthstone,
so it doesn't matter. Just don't use
Can you
grenades.
can you target them mind controlled people?
I don't think you can, but these guardians could maybe be target dummy, but I haven't seen a single target dummy fly out in any of the videos I looked at. Not saying it's useless, but I think, yeah, if we have the shared cooldown situation, which we do, then a major healthstone I think is more beneficial towards the whole raid than having a target dummy ready.
And for mages, by the way, it's also the mana gems. Just pointing that out.
This doesn't matter because you should have wisdoms. Like I will say this a lot of times. You should bring wisdoms as mana potions. I know it's expensive and will bring more. We'll have them banked. I'm not sure if you can all have 5. I don't think that's going to be reasonable. But make sure you have wisdoms as mana pots as well. Make a conscious decision, because as a mage you're sheeping already. I don't expect you to also magic dust on top of that. Your job is sheeping. Everybody else can magic dust that doesn't share or doesn't use mana gems. Again, health potions or major health stones might still be a consideration. I'm just handing it out in case people feel comfortable, throwing one out. I'm not saying if I don't, see everyone magic dust, it's going to be bad. Not at all. It is just an additional option that we have on top of sheeps.
Yeah, last info, just a consideration. I don't know if you can macro it, but Will of the Forsaken breaks the sleep from sleeping dust. So either put that on cooldown prior to KT, or macro it in a kind of no enemy player in brackets, no undead. I don't know if that is possible.
Everyone who's not a troll can just use the racial before we start. Then you can just add that for any. Who cares?
What was the? Sorry, repeat yours, please. Giant, for the trolls.
I mean, if this is the concern from Syken, then every undead can just use the racial also.
To be fair, we have no undead melees, probably rogues. Some rogues. It's most dangerous. Casters, well, that doesn't matter. You can ship casters. They won't do much damage in the 1.5 seconds.
Yeah, I think the easiest solution is just use Will of the Forsaken at the beginning. There's no fear mechanic, right? So, yeah.
You can be
like, is the reason not to use it?
Mind-controlled priest. Like.
Yeah, but a priest can be undead herald, so. then maybe all undeads you just use it. Why save it? Like just
Yeah,
no point.
I said that's the only reason you could be feared by undead priest or by any priest or any warlock controlled. But yeah, it doesn't matter. We can have shamans with tremors. So yeah, it's better to use.
Let me show you a first kind of draft. I mean, it's more than a draft. It is probably somewhat of the, like mostly the final positions. Again, I'm going to change the tank positions to what we just discussed in terms of how Giant has to move the boss. Just quickly pull that up for you. So I've decided to not name the positions with player names because if we ever do KT again, it would change. I could add it if need be. I have numbered the positions and made a assignment sheet for positions so you can see what numbered position you should be in. Just share that quickly. So this is roughly what it can look like. So let me just walk you through the idea, and if there's any better ideas on how to do this, and this is not perfectly accurate for some, because there's more space down in the room that is not visible on this picture. Plus, this picture is not a bird's eye view of the room. This is a tilted, view of the room. So 1, 2, 3. These numbers are obviously the melee camps. This would just be turned around so that main tank, which is this spot, would be on 2 and 2. So these two would swap. Because we are Horde, we have a lot of shamans, not as much priests as they brought. So all our shamans will be positioned around this circle. This is for, the Wind Fury groups. This is for chain heal. So these shamans will be, split with their respective melee groups. So all of those guys get, Wind Fury or whatever other totems they need. The priests will be positioned by the entrances for the phase 3 ads. So we have priests in position 27, 9, 11, and 13. So we have a priest pretty much everywhere in the room so they can checkle in each direction wherever the ads spawn. Mages are also spread out on 21, 18, 14, and 10. So this is 4 mages. We will probably have 5 or 6. So some of these spots might change. I will add them. This was just a draft with 4. So if we have 5, we can have, another mage down here. We could have another mage somewhere here. Again, the room is bigger than what the picture shows. So there will be a mage in each corner or direction that is for these sheeps. And then the other positions become kind of not random. I've put the warlocks a bit closer just due to range and the hunters a bit further out because they have more range. But this is the general idea. Heal druids, we can literally be anywhere as long as we, or stick to the 10-yard radius. I could be anywhere in the room. I don't care. This is roughly the positioning. Anyone with more experience or somebody that's caught something that's like, this makes no sense at all. Why isn't this person there? From what
This
you've
is
seen
good.
now. I think this is what makes the most sense. Again, we can change it, but for now I haven't really seen an issue with it. Again, there's more space, so we can use more space if needed. But one thing for you to always consider, or for all of us to consider, is if there's somebody too close to you and they are mispositioned, and this might happen. Not everyone might be in the perfect spot, and this is what we can practice in the Sapphiron room. There will be more slots available at your own, discretion to pick. There's not something weird happening where I haven't marked nothing. It is, this spot would be free, this would be free, and there's more down here. But this is the general setup. And the same I've put in the assignment sheet. So if I look at the Naxxramas assignment and I go down to KT, this is going to be a bit messy. I'll explain that sign up sheet. Maybe I can just do it now. These stacks, this is just the melee stacks. This is just, well, technically for me, so I know which shaman and which position is with which melee stack. The same goes for stack 2 and 3. So I've numbered all the shamans, I've numbered all the stacks. These players will just be like stack 1 is just determined in which stack you are. They have no other position than their stack position, whilst each other player, let's say number 19 druid, if I put my name in there and I'm number 19, I know if I look at the picture, oh, 19, I'm over here. So each player can individually check the assignment sheet and say, oh, this is my spot. That's why I didn't name them, but I numbered them. This is the same for every player except for the melee stacks. So this is how that's gonna work. Make sense?
Yes.
Good. Then
Like
I'll just get busy.
we used Vikora for like the group 1 interrupt like the first frostbolt, group 2 interrupt the second, group 3 interrupt the third.
Yeah.
I don't remember the name on it, but we should look it up.
Look one up, Killer. Yeah, I've also heard this. There is assignments. We can do assignments as well, because we need to avoid that everybody kicks at the same time, right? Kind of, I guess.
Yes.
Or does it matter? Yeah.
Ideally, have a kick with a backup from another group. So in case you get a fissure or the ice
frozen.
block thing.
Yeah.
Or maybe even 3 kicks.
We could
If
do
one
that.
should
I mean,
fail, one guy kicks at the end or something like that.
Yeah.
Just like one kicker from each group.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and they should be in a rotation. So let's say you know, kick 1 can be 1 player from 3, 1 from 1, and 1 from 2. Kick 2 can be another 3 players and so forth. So
that's how you do it.
Yeah, I think that makes most sense.
You can
I
counterspell it, right,
that.
Harold? Or
yes, but counterspell have always chance to resist, so it's less reliable.
Yeah, but that would be like the last resort option,
yes, sure.
probably.
Sure.
I think. Like, so if someone sees this is about to go off as a mage, then you should counterspell. Probably.
Yeah. I was a bit unsure about the hunters and warlocks in this one. Killer, anything from the hunters you would say that's better than this?
No, this is okay.
Okay, warlocks, refuge.
You mean the positioning?
Yes, positioning.
It's fine.
Okay. Okay. Then this is it for now. Let me finalize this position swap because this was my initial idea, but it obviously makes sense so we don't have to flip the boss and take him for a walk. So it's better to be down here as a tank and then group 2 can be here.
No.
Are you as a Dudu in range for main tank healing in this positioning?
Yeah,
yes.
That's okay.
Okay.
Especially if we swap him, then definitely, right? But thing is, like, when this like mind control thing happens, whoever is tanking him is gonna like afterwards lock him into a position. So just know if you're like in group 1, you'll be at like, let's say, the right arm side of Kel'Thuzad. So you'll have to adjust your position after every mind control.
Yeah, so I'll do the same thing that they done here. I'll name like 3 leaders per melee stack, like experienced melee players, and they are responsible to keep their group in check. I'm talking people like Dezo, I'm talking people like Hanzuk that will make a good conscious decision on where should I be after we repositioned, right? So in a perfect world, just like in the video we just watched, you just follow your mark. Okay, green is moving, I'm in group green, I'm moving with green. Not saying you should move with him all the time, but if you reposition in your stack, you should move with them. So there will be group leaders for those positions.
Good.
Any I've missed?
Is it something with my son? Okay.
Okay.
Guys,
I
you
think
hear me?
Okay.
Rennie
Yes,
is
It
just
looks like
disconnected.
Discord.
Yeah,
all of us just lagged out.
Oh, okay.
It was really awkward because I just said, okay, is there any questions for mechanics and positions?
like,
silence. No, silence. Then I'm like, okay, so we're good to kill KT. Silence. I'm like, shit.
I actually had a question, and I thought I was like totally ignored. I was like,
No.
job,
I did not hear anything. It was complete silence on this call.
You're like, all right, we're all good. Let's fucking go. Woo!
Let's wrap this shit up.
Okay.
Go ahead.
my question is just given how the map looks. You got 6 or 7 shamans, potentially, right?
Yes.
Are we to spam Earthshock rank 1 on everything he does? You got shitty hit, but
Oh,
there is a
focus healing.
quality quantity. Okay, so just move
What
on
kills
to
it?
healing. Right.
Yeah.
By the way,
Like
about shamans.
you have to.
Yeah,
Go
sorry.
ahead, Harold.
We can place Earthbind totems on the phase 1 around the, this octangle, middle circle. Like
Oh, you frost shock when they run in.
Yeah, frost shocks and Earthbinds are super helpful.
Hey, would that be an option? Just thinking out loud. We have shamans in groups that are not Wind Fury dependent. Would a grounding totem, since he's counterspellable on his Frostbolt ability, would a grounding totem eat it?
I don't know.
Figure
If
it
you're
out,
on
because if you
Axis,
figure it out, because
just,
if it
just,
can,
just from what I think, okay, I think that grounding totem would only work on single target spells, right? So if you're normal PvE, you get a frostbolted by a mob, a grounding totem can eat that. But AoE volley is never targeted at one player. So
no,
I would
not the
assume this is
AoE volley.
yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm talking about the thing that goes on to giant.
Oh, the one-shot thingy.
Yeah,
because
but
if that's the case, then it might be valuable for or worthwhile for the shaman in group 1 to just totem twist.
You mean two shamans in the group 1, but
No, one shaman into group 1. It's enough. One shaman in group 1.
It's already one shaman, but the giant will need Infinite Fury, and any other.
Yes, but you can totem twist. The only thing that you're missing out is one global cooldown here or there.
But it's better to shock.
I don't know. I don't think so. I disagree with that, but we don't need to discuss it now. Shock can be resisted. Grounding cannot. Always works 100%.
Well, you can use probably.
I take it with Rasmus.
Rasmus knows this.
Yeah, just leave it to Rasmus.
Since hunters won't ever cast multi-shot, I hope Christian is aware of never use chain lightning. Chain.
It's a good
What's
call
the
out.
name?
Yeah, chain lightning.
Maybe.
No, it's a fair call out. Like no,
Yeah,
like
it's good to mention.
that goes for everyone. No flame strikes or blizzards or whatever abilities we do have at hand to throw around. Okay. Yeah, I mean, with this knowledge, let's maybe look into a couple of, our own things for your class individually. I think as a broad picture, this kind of works, but there's probably small things I've missed or min-maxes I'm not aware of. So I think the general tactic kind of does make sense. The positioning makes sense. Just look at what, you as an individual player can come up with that is not covered here. Maybe you'll
Mind
find something
controls
that
can be
blocks or-
blinded.
Yes, another good point. I'll just add that to the mind control thing here.
Yeah, basically it's
That's
blind,
actually
scatter,
pretty nice.
frost trap, everything you can use.
Yeah, you can frost nova them as well in place if your mage and a melee is coming towards you and it's not nearby anyone else, but be careful with those frost novas always. But blind is a good option. Magic dust again we talked about.
Blind is double cool because the shaman in the group can poison cleanse, and then you can blind, and it will automatically be removed once the mind control is over. That's just sweet game mechanics, man.
It just takes 8 seconds. It will end before the mind control, or like at the same time.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it's cool if it's used at the end of mind control, but it's not necessary there.
Advantage is that it has some range, so
yeah.
10 yards.
Goody, are you still here? Just one thing that for both Sapphiron and KT can help, and it might be a min-max. But I mean, Kahlua and I are already doing that with our spec, but apparently 2 Renew Priests on Saph and KT can be really helpful because we have to almost like, top off everyone at the same time to not put them at danger of dying to Frostbolt Volley. I don't know if one of the or 2 of the priests want to pick that up, but maybe just something for you, an extra to take away. That improved Renew could maybe make a difference here.
I actually checked logs earlier today and I couldn't find any improved renewals.
Okay. I mean, we do have Chain Heal, which is obviously superior in terms of healing when it comes to horde healing, right? That is a luxury that we have that Alliance does not. Like again, Kilua and I are already specced into what you want to call a coating spec. So we do well at coating people versus not doing good at single target, quick heals. So that should be covered as well from our perspective, our side.
We are not using Imp on KT, I guess.
No.
I don't think it's gonna help anything.
It's not helpful because Ice Tomb is worse than.
I'll ask Wandet, Frenny, the guy from Cozy, I also talked about with mind controlling from Reserves. I'll ask him and yeah, that.
Cool.
But the locks I could
Thank
find,
you.
the one who would heal most was the 8 out of 8 tier 2 priest.
Okay. Then I ask the question again. Are we good to kill KT?
Easy clap, let's go.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
More response than last time.
Hey, friendly.
Yeah.
No?
No, like I want to be like I don't want to make anyone be afraid of this. This is not an easy fight, and you've seen the rate damage that goes out. We'll obviously, if we get there, which I really hope we do because we deserve it. I think we'll make it worth our time. But then again, this is a tough boss fight. There's lots of stuff going on. There's a lot of stuff individually going on in terms of keeping yourself healthy. That is outside of what the healers can do for you. All I can say is bring as much consumables as you have. We'll be handing out stuff for all these bosses, but there's only so much we were able to buy. We are looking at. I can double check it on the site. So I have a whole character in Orgrimmar with just straight consumables for these kind of things. Just quickly pull it up. So at the moment, we have more than enough frost protection potion. We have 160, so each player will get free. We have the magic resistance potions for Sapphiron covered. We have greater shadow at least 80, and I got more myself for everyone. Without Gob's donation, we are already looking at 50 wisdoms, 62 petries. We have 30 titans, and there's way more than what Gob has also sent to us. So we're probably looking at double of that. So maybe get a few extra wisdoms if you're a mana user, just to be able to have infinite mana potions. That goes to all healers, casters. You should really make an effort to maybe bring a couple of extra if you can. I'll try to just buy more from Guild Bank. I think, just one thing I think I did not cover at all. The Frostbolt volley. If we have some ultra sweaty rich people in this room that have a lot of gold, you can petri Frostbolt volley to mitigate rate damage. So you could petri every single volley if you choose to do that. Just putting it out there.
By the end of the fight, you probably have to do it anyway. If you have low HP and there's incoming, you have to petri.
Yeah. So don't wait for the healers to, save everyone. We are going to be busy with a lot of stuff. I know it is our job, but then again, there's lots happening. So petri and go full sweat mode whenever you can.
One thing I thought about, like when KT dies, does the ads despawn or you have to kill them also?
No,
they run away.
Yeah, they run.
They run away?
Insta.
Okay.
They just leave.
Leave and never come back.
Yeah.
Like one thing we should take out of the movie you showed us is that when Ampy died, they did just relax and do everything they had to do. They didn't panic.
Yeah.
That's super important. If someone dies, we're still going.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. I'm also gonna announce it. I'm not gonna petri out of KT unless it's on pull and we have, just one person die. But even then, we can probably just adjust it to what is needed. But I'm not gonna petri out. I'll die in that fucking throne room if I die.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not petrying out the 4. Let me put it that way. I will petri to cheese a mechanic if I can. I'll sweat that much for sure, but I'll not leave. It's either KT or me.
Nice.
Or both.
Or both.
Or both.
Let's go. Fuck yeah.
Could pull an MP here.
Yeah.
Okay, then I'll just officially end it here, Harold. I think you can just stop the recording and thank you for doing that.